Alright, so in this section we're going to be looking at HTML5. Now, if you haven't watched the HTML section yet, I would suggest doing that first as we look at the basics of HTML in general. This section will be strictly looking at the new features and syntax of HTML5. So HTML5 is the most recent standard or version of HTML. It offers new features that provide rich media support and support for creating web applications that interact with the user. So it's essentially more dynamic than past versions of HTML. Alright, now as far as browser support goes, here are some current statistics that I found online. This tells us what percentage of the available HTML5 features are compatible with the specified browsers. Now, it's important to mention that just about all of the really popular and important features of HTML can be used with all of these browsers, at least the stuff that we'll be doing. As far as my preference, I use Google Chrome 99% of the time. You can see that Microsoft Edge has 100% compatibility, but I have little to no experience using Microsoft Edge. In my experience, most developers tend to use Chrome or Firefox, which would be my second choice. So we have quite a bit of new stuff going on in HTML5. It introduces a whole new set of elements, tags, and attributes that reflect typical usage on modern websites and applications, and we'll be taking a look at those in depth in the next video. So some of these are replacements for common use of generic elements such as div and span. A good example would be the header tag. In HTML4, we would typically wrap a header using a div with an ID. Now we have a header tag which is much more semantic and it looks better, it looks cleaner. Syntax is also no longer based on SGML, which is Standard Generalized Markup Language. This is what HTML4 was based on. Now, even though this is true, HTML5 has complete backward compatibility with earlier versions of HTML. Alright, so in addition to new elements and objects, HTML5 has a bunch of new APIs to work with JavaScript. Now, some of these might be a little confusing if you don't know any JavaScript. I'm not going to get too much into that side of it, but I would suggest looking at the JavaScript part of this course to get a better understanding of the language. So these APIs include Canvas, which is a new HTML element that's used to draw graphics on the fly using JavaScript, and SVG, which stands for Scalable Vector Graphics. This is a way to define graphics for the web, and it also has its own SVG element or SVG tag. We also have the ability to drag and drop elements, web storage, which includes both local storage and session storage, which is cleared when the browser is closed. We have geolocation, which can ask for and track a user's location, and this can be really helpful in mobile or hybrid apps. We also have IndexedDB, which is a low-level API for client-side storage of structured data. We also have Web Audio, which provides a powerful and versatile system for controlling audio. Editable content allows us to take virtually any element and make it editable. And then we have App Cache or Application Cache, which makes it easy to make an offline version of a web application or a website. Alright, so we're going to get into all of these in this section. Alright, so that is it for this video. In the next video, we're going to jump in and look at some of the new tags, some of the new elements available with HTML5.